What's cracking, everybody? We back with another ball video. Balling uncontrollably. So today we're going to be reacting to the low post. Legends of Winning. I respect this man's content. I like him. I should be subscribed. Just like you guys should be subscribed to me. But nonetheless, we're going to be reacting to Nobody Expected This from Russell Westbrook. If you guys know me, you know the type of content I make. I make drama content. I make basketball content. I'll be reacting to basketball videos. I'll be reacting to drama videos. As you can see, I got videos lined up already. That's the type of content I make. If you want someone that's going to make you laugh, I'm probably your guy. If you want someone that has a decent amount of ball knowledge, I'm also your guy. So let's go ahead and get this video started on the boy Westbrook. Let's get cracking.
Turn of events, it seems as if like the Denver Nuggets season has been saved, but where a lot of this rescuing is coming from may actually surprise you. For those who may not remember, roughly a month ago, one of the bigger topics in the NBA community was what exactly is going on out in Denver. It felt as if like the season for the Nuggets was going to be a complete waste, as the top executive strategy to rely heavily on young players really wasn't mapping out. And rock bottom for Denver is when they lost to the Washington Wizards, despite the fact that Jokic put up a historic night. Since the outing against the Washington Wizards, the Nuggets have played 17 games, of which they have a record of 12-5, with an offensive rating of 120.6, a defensive rating of 111.8, which gives them a net rating of 8.7. And with a net rating of 8.7, that gives them the fourth best net rating within this time frame. So what exactly has occurred? Well,
now I know this is gonna be about Westbrook, and I am happy for Brody. Okay, I'm happy for him. I want him to succeed, and I hope he ends up getting the ring. I don't think that's going to happen, because at the end of the day, Denver is playing better. No disrespect to Denver. Nuggets fans are crazy. They came for my head because I said Jokic was great, but I don't think he's top 5 yet. I still think he's amazing, though, and he could have the potential to be top 5. Not in the NBA, all time. So I said he was, of course, he's one of the best players in the NBA, and they came for my head for saying that, so... Okay, I just want to say, no Nugget hate. I'm just saying that this Nuggets team, in my opinion, is just not that same Nuggets team that seems feared the last couple of years. They just seem, they're good, but I don't know if they're that good. But we'll see what he says. I'm curious.
The Nuggets schedule has been slightly easier. Jamal Murray has certainly played better. Aaron Gordon has participated in more games in this stretch than he did in the stretch prior. And shout out to the young fella in Julian Strawther. A lot of the potential that the top execs out in Denver saw out of him has slowly started to emerge throughout the 17-game sample size. And of course, Jokic is Jokic. He's posting up historic stat lines practically every single night throughout this stretch as well. But the unsung hero, and maybe not even unsung at this point because a lot of people are finally getting behind him, is Russell Westbrook. Yes, you heard me correctly. Russell Westbrook has been a complete game changer and difference maker for the Denver Nuggets throughout this stretch of games, so much so that I would go as far as to say that he's not only exceeding expectations by a fairly wide margin, but there are several games, and I do mean several, where Russell Westbrook has been definitively the second best player on this team. That's with Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and even the games with Aaron Gordon as well. Westbrook outperforms all of them, and he does so by putting up ridiculous stat lines and having impact that, again, I don't think too many people were expecting out of him. In the last 15 games, Westbrook is averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, 7.5 assists, nearly 2 steals, while shooting 55% from the field. Yes, you heard me correctly. 55% from...
That's good for him, bro. That's good for him. He found the fountain of youth. Westbrook is playing better than he has in the last few years, and I am happy for him, and I hope he continues to continue that stretch. Like, at the end of the day, I still don't think Denver's going to win a ring, but if they do end up winning a ring, and it's primarily because of Westbrook's impact, and of course Jokic, but Jokic is a goddamn cheat code, then I think that's good. I think he deserves it, but anybody deserves a ring more than anybody is Westbrook. But yeah, with the West being what it is, and Cleveland and Boston, I just don't see it happening. But man, would it be good for him. I don't care about Denver fans. Y'all are some crazy motherfuckers. I said Jokic was great. I'm never letting that go. I said Jokic was great. I just don't know if he's top 5 yet, and you guys had a pussy fit in my goddamn comment section. So I am never letting that go. But nonetheless, I do want to say, mad respect to Russell Westbrook, and I hope he gets that ring. He deserves it. And if Denver gets a ring too, cool. But I hope Westbrook gets his ring. I
the
just don't
field.
know if
This
it's
is
gonna
easily
happen.
some of the most efficient basketball from a scoring perspective that we've seen from Westbrook in quite some time. And it's not just the stat line, it's also the impact. In particular, the impact with an increased role, because within this 15 to 17 game stretch, Westbrook has been inserted into the starting five due to the absence of Aaron Gordon. And again, the impact is clearly felt, such as the 18-point, 10 assist, 9 rebound game against the Sacramento Kings back in December 16th, or the 16-point triple-double against the Utah Jazz right at the turn of the calendar year, or how about the 19-point, 8 assist, 6 rebound outing against the Los Angeles Clippers without Nikola Jokic, as the Denver Nuggets are still able to win that game against the Clippers by 23 points. But these last two games have really turned the table for where I think a lot of people will continue to perceive Russell Westbrook moving forward throughout the rest of this season, because not only did Russell Westbrook record a 25-point, 11 rebound, 10 assist triple-double against the Brooklyn Nets, while also Jokic recorded a triple-double in that outing as well, making Russ and Jokic the second duo ever to have a 25-point triple-double during the same game in NBA history. The other duo to do so was Jokic and Jamal Murray during the finals, but he then followed up that performance with a 21-point, 10 rebound, 7 assist outing against the Dallas Mavericks just last night, and once more did this while playing alongside Nikola Jokic. Now, this is all important for several reasons. The Denver Nuggets finally found someone who could produce at these levels that didn't consist of a starting five member. I have talked about this ad nauseum on the channel, so I'm not going to go into any deep details, but we all know the ongoing story with the Nuggets is how they're going to be able to replace some of the bench production and even KCP, who they've lost over the last handful of seasons. And it seems as if like Russell Westbrook can not only replace a lot of that, but again exceed expectations, which is great for a Denver Nuggets team that is struggling at times to produce or have some type of consistent production, again, outside of their starting five units. So that is great. But also, I think that it is an amazing turnaround story for Russell Westbrook, who, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, really wasn't having the greatest conclusion to an already great career. I don't want to take that away from him, but I feared that the way that many people were going to go back and look at Westbrook's career wasn't going to be with the greatest of grace because of how he concluded it. Many people may be familiar, but just briefly, as we all know, after Kevin Durant left the Oklahoma City Thunder back during the summer of 2016, it certainly left a hole in OKC that unfortunately just was not able to be fulfilled. However, in the absence of KD in the upcoming years, Westbrook really started to emerge as someone who had a level of impact that many people may not have been familiar with, as he famously recorded a 31-point triple-double that resulted in him receiving a regular season MVP back during the 2017 campaign. But
Yeah, I saw a lot of people were like poo-pooing that. This is where like the empty stat shit came up. And it's like, homie, I don't know if it's empty stats. Can we not sit there and say it's empty stats? Like, homie was putting up triple doubles and we just kind of get blinded by the fact that he did it twice. Then we're like, oh, fucking who cares? And it's like, nah, bro. That's impressive. That's incredibly impressive. And ever since then, he did kind of go down as far as his production, but like I said, I'm happy to see that this newfound fountain of youth Westbrook. Like, I'm happy for it, and I'm happy to see him happy, because it doesn't seem like he's been happy for years at this point.
unfortunately, the postseason concluded in the first round exit, and that level of short-lived success in the playoffs was consistent for the next two seasons, despite the fact of OKC's attempt of adding more talent around him, in particular with Paul George. Now, after his time with the Thunder, he then pivoted over to the Houston Rockets, where once more, despite the fact that Russ was putting up really solid stat lines, it unfortunately didn't materialize to any deep postseason success. And after just 1 year's time in Houston, he then pivoted to the Washington Wizards, and even though he did lead them to their first postseason appearance since 2018, it was still a losing season by the record standard in the regular season, and once more another disappointing, underwhelming, and a lot of bad performances in a first round exit. And then after just one season in Washington is when the low of his low really occurred, and that's when he transitioned to the Los Angeles Lakers to play alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James, which obviously was met with very steep expectations in which the Lakers were never able to meet. And a huge reason for this is because of the bad fit between LeBron, AD, and now the newly acquired Russell Westbrook. And let's just go ahead and rip the band-aid off, because let's just keep it a buck. Let's call it a spade a spade. A huge reason why many of you all are watching this video is because you're actually surprised that, oh my gosh, Low of all people is making a Westbrook video where you're praising him. And you're right, I am, because I have been very consistent with my criticism towards Russell Westbrook, and I'm going to say it now, I'm going to say it again, I might even put video evidence proof of this. My gripe with Russell Westbrook when he was playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, as I am a Lakers fan, and I'm pretty sure my voice at the time was very loud, is that Westbrook, though some of the criticism was justifiable, especially because it was going to be hard for him to find a situation that was going to be best suited for him, in all actuality, who he was in LA was not the proper representation of who he was as a player, rather than just a consequence of a poor fit. I said that in real time, and I continue to stand by that. And I do believe since he's departed with the Lakers, it has been further evidence that it's always just been a fit problem. However, within the year and a half's time that he was playing for the Lakers, there was a lot of damage done to his reputation. And again, I think a lot of it was unjust and unfair. So much.
There was a lot of shit that he taken. Removed vampire from locker room. That's fucked up. Like, it just wasn't a good fit. It is what it is. And sometimes you're going to have pieces that don't fit together. You're going to have players that don't work together. Doesn't mean that he's a vampire. That's such a fucked up thing to say. Like, at the end of the day, I can sit here and tell you, like, Russell Westbrook, as far as his contribution to the Lakers, like, it wasn't the greatest, but he still tried. I didn't like that he was being called Westbrook. It was frustrating, his production. But the hate he was getting seemed just too much. It seemed like too much. And I will sit here and admit, I feel like that a lot of the hate that he was getting was because of the expectations of winning. The Lakers expected to win. Just expected to win the championship, and they just couldn't get over that hump. So I'm happy that he's able to go to a team where, sure, the expectations for Denver were to win. I'm not trying to act like they aren't. But as far as, like, Denver, everyone's talking about who? Oklahoma City Thunder. And everybody's sure they're having Denver in that situation, but I think the spotlight is just a lot lower. Getting to the playoffs and losing as a Laker means that you failed. Getting to the playoffs and losing as a Nugget, you had a good season. That's what that means. And maybe next year. So yeah, I feel like the hate towards Russell Westbrook was very, very harsh. I'm happy he's doing good now. I just want us to focus on him doing good now, because I feel like the focus is going to be like, oh, he wasn't a good fit? Well, he should have been. LeBron's the GOAT, isn't he? Like you guys say, like the hate should not just be there. Focus on Westbrook doing good, and why don't you love the man for him being great now? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm happy for Westbrook, and like I said, I hope he gets a ring. I hope he ends up getting a ring. Denver fans are insufferable, but I hope he gets a ring.
Much so that there was actually a story claiming that once the Lakers decided to trade Westbrook, that they were removing the vampire out of the locker room, effectively insinuating that Westbrook was sucking the life out of a team that already had a lot of low morale. In large part because at that time is when the concept of Russell Westbrook accepting a smaller role and more or less coming off of the bench started to become much more popular. And to be fair to Russ, he certainly accepted that role in the latter half of his time with the Lakers, but a lot of damage was done at that point in his career. However, in real time, I remember me saying vividly that Russ had a very strategic decision to be made, because once we all kind of got to the point where we all understood who Russell Westbrook truly was, he needed to be on a team that best benefited his strengths and weaknesses, and he chose the Los Angeles Clippers, in which I do believe was a perfect fit for him, in large part because of the amount of floor spacing and also their real desire to have a ball handler, passer, and distributor. And even in that situation, he eventually came off of the bench once the Clippers acquired James Harden as well. However, I do believe now his fit with the Denver Nuggets is an even greater one, in large part because of not only the floor spacing, but because of the unique style of play of Nikola Jokic that removes himself from the basket pretty consistently, which results into Russell Westbrook just getting easy looks at the basket every single night. And that's actually been a huge...
Jokic is a goddamn cheat code. Jokic is a cheat code. There's not much you can do. When the motherfucker is someone that you have to collapse in on, because if you don't, he's going to get an easy bucket. But if you collapse in on him, he's going to pass it out. So you're leaving people open. Like, it is easy to play with him. So I can see why that could be happening for sure.
Contributing factor of the increased level of accuracy when it comes to Westbrook from the field, not just, in the last 15 games, but for the totality of the season. For those who may not be aware, this actually is the best finishing season of Russell Westbrook's career, which really means a lot. We are talking about someone who has not only been in the NBA for a very long time, but Russ's consistent strength in his game has been his ability to get to the basket and finish. And the fact that we are talking about someone who is having the highest accuracy at the greatest strength that he has really speaks volumes to what it looks like when you truly optimize a player, when you figure out a way to put personnel around them to heighten their strengths while also lessening their weaknesses, what the result can look like even at an advanced age. And Russell Westbrook somehow is having the best season he has had since his Washington Wizard year, and it's actually very impressive on what's happening. And I do believe the last game against the Dallas Mavericks is the perfect example on how Russell Westbrook fits really well alongside Nikola Jokic. Russ has really simplified his game and accepted a lesser role, does a lot of table setting, and just really looks for mismatches when it comes to Jokic in the post, dumps it off to him, and just waits until his man leaves him to go help on Jokic and just makes simple cuts to the basket in which he's just being spoon-fed shots over and over and over again. And even though last night's game against the Dallas Mavericks, it is a bit of an extreme when you look at some of these plays. I mean, he's basically just sitting underneath the rim, wide open shots. It's actually pretty crazy. But the sentiment is still felt. Russell Westbrook has finally accepted the lesser role. He's flourishing in it, accepted what he is or is not supposed to do on the floor. Huge shout out to Mike Malone, because I do believe you need a proper coach to allow someone like Russell Westbrook to thoroughly accept that role as well, but is executing and maximizing it in large part because of who Jokic is as a player. Russell Westbrook has always had the ability to look this good at any stage of his career. He just needed the proper personnel around him. And you can certainly argue that Jokic is a very unique style of big man that is
Jokic is just a fucking cheat code. One thing I do want to talk about is the fact that Jamal Murray, I just don't. 43% from field goal range. He's 19 points per game. Rebounds are atrocious, but that's not really his game anyway. Six assists. Like, he has dipped. If we want to act like he hasn't, we can, but he has quite literally dipped as far as his field goal percentage has dipped from last year. His points per game has dipped from last year. His turnovers have went up since last year. Like, his steals are up, but so that's good. His blocks went down. His assist went down. Rebounding's down. His free throw percentage even went down since last year. Jamal Murray is not playing the best. And this right here is the main issue that I'm having with the Nuggets. I think that the Nuggets have an excellent pickup with Westbrook, and I'm happy that he found a newfound light. I'm happy that he's happy again, and I'm happy that he's able to play at a level that it didn't seem like he was going to be able to play again. But as for Denver being able to get over that hump, go through Oklahoma City and beat them, go through some of these good teams in the West and win and get to the get to the finals and face whether it be Cleveland or Boston or a dark horse team, I don't know if they'll be able to do that. I don't know if they'll be able to do that at all, because I don't see, if this is what Murray's going to be, I don't see it being enough. So Murray needs to step up. But again, this is about Westbrook. Not specifically about the Nuggets, but it kind of is. So, yeah, I am happy about Westbrook's production for sure. And I'm happy to see where he's at right now. Like, this is good. This is good for him. This is a feel-good story, you know what I mean? You want stories like this where it's like, fuck, Westbrook is great. He's up there again. We can actually be happy with Brody. Like, we can be happy for him. Because, yeah, a lot of the hate he was getting, that Westbrook shit was not okay. It just was fucked up. From fucking, Skip Bayless's ass, Westbrook. Jesus.
Really hard to come across throughout the course of NBA history, and I do believe that is fair. And I also believe who Russ is as a player, the level of awareness in terms of off-ball movement that we see out of him today, and even with his time with the Clippers, was a much-needed improvement that we've seen out of him in contrast to the rest of his career. So there is not only an acceptance of a lesser role, but also an adjustment in his game as well. And again, you give a lot of credit for Russell Westbrook for doing all of those things. But I do believe that this is just a bigger picture of finding the right situation for you. One of the bigger issues that I think many people are starting to realize in the NBA community over the last 5 to 6 years now is that you can't just throw a bunch of names on a paper and hope that it's going to work out, because
that is true. That is true. Thank you. Like, you can't just throw a bunch of players together and be like, just because these names are together, it's gonna work. Like, continuity matters. I'm gonna bring up something that's gonna make LeBron haters a little angry, but the 2004 Olympic team, the Olympic team that we sent out, right? Our roster, where they blame LeBron James, even though LeBron James played very little minutes and was 19 years old and came off the bench and didn't even start. But we don't talk about that. But let's go ahead and look at the team. Like, we have AI, Stephen Marbury, Carlos Boozer, LeBron James, Carmelo, and Dwayne Wade, yes. But we got Sean Marion, Stoudemire, Tim Duncan, Lamar Odom, Richard Jefferson. Like, this team, the starting five, I believe, was AI, Stephen Marbury, Tim Duncan, I believe it was Lamar Odom and Sean Marion, if I'm remembering correctly. That was our starting five. This was a good team. But again, these names don't really mesh with each other. You got AI, Stephen Marbury. AI was the fucking captain. And you got Tim Duncan, Stoudemire. These names don't mesh. Like, these players do not mesh with each other at all. But you had them all playing together, and we ended up getting bronze. Even though, like I said, LeBron James barely played because he was a 19-year-old. Barely got any minutes. Want to throw that out there. But yeah, it's crazy when we look at this team and we got bronze, because it's like we had a good team. It was 2004, guys. It wasn't the era where we have now, where international play is crazy. Like, international play was getting better, of course. it was getting better, but it was nowhere near the level of competition we were at now. So we definitely should have won with this team. But again, you're just throwing a bunch of names together and you're hoping they work, but they don't really mesh. So when you're throwing names together, they have to mesh. You know what I mean? I could have like three of the best point guards at your school. But if you put them against a point guard, a center, a small forward that all know how to work together with chemistry, and even if your three is better overall, just talent-wise, one by one, they're better, you're going to end up losing because you guys don't mesh. But yeah, that's just what it is.
The truth of the matter is, in today's game, it has way more to do with strategic building rather than just collecting names, because that has been the issue with a lot of teams over the last 5 to 6 years, something that we're seeing from Phoenix right now, and a problem that, again, Russell Westbrook has dealt with at stages of his career as well. Throughout his tenure of hopping around from one team to the next, he has been...
Not just Phoenix, we can look at Houston as well. We can look at Brooklyn Nets. That's when you just throw in names together to try to make it work, it doesn't work. The Clippers are an excellent example of that.
Been a victim of his own weaknesses way too often, in large part because of the team that he was on. So I am happy for Russell Westbrook that he finally made a strategic decision and signed with teams that made more sense for him. And right now, it seems as if like this may have been the best situation for him, and it's not even close. Now, that being said, I do want to pump the brakes on some of the conversations and dialogues that is happening around the NBA space right now, because I do see a lot of people kind of posting up on-off numbers, and with Russ on the floor, when he's out on the floor, and all these other things, and it's like, let's slow down for a second. Throughout the totality of the season, when Russ is on the floor, yes, they still are winning those minutes, which is very important for someone who is coming off the bench, in particular out in Denver, because they lose a lot of those minutes when Jokic is off the floor. But when Russ is off the floor, the net rating is significantly higher, and even though, yes, we can sit here and go back and forth and say, hey man, look at the triple-double duo about Russ and Jokic, and look at their on-offs and their net ratings and their offensive rating, because I've seen a lot of those numbers as well. In all honesty, it doesn't matter who's on the floor with Jokic, the net rating, the offensive rating are all going to be extraordinarily high, because that's just how great and impactful Jokic is as a player. And in particular, when Russ is on the floor with ample three-point shooting, with Jokic, with Jamal Murray, with Christian Brown, with MPJ, that's when his net rating all around is of its highest. When you just look at him being paired with other players, that's when it's great. However, when he's on the floor with like Peyton Watson or Julian, it doesn't look that great at all. So there still needs to be an understanding of how to properly optimize Russell Westbrook. I don't want everyone to get out of hand and just say, oh my goodness, Russ and Jokic, without putting into proper context that it's still the optimization of the lineups that is surrounding Russell Westbrook to maximize who he is as a player. And overall, it took a really great coach, an all-time great player at his absolute peak, who has a personality, skill set, and just overall IQ to really maximize who Russell Westbrook is. And it is kind of shameful that it took us this long to finally figure out potentially the true version of Russ, but I do believe better late than never. I'm just happy to see Westbrook out there doing his thing, and he looks really, really great at basketball. So no, I'm not going to sit here and hate. And even though I may have been a bit critical myself, in essence, my original belief still stood true. I do believe the conversation around Westbrook as he kind of fades out of the NBA will certainly change and be much more optimistic and view.
That's good, because he is a Hall of Famer. Point blank period. Westbrook's a Hall of Famer. So he deserves the respect, for sure.
In a much brighter light now than it was when he ended his time with the Lakers. And I think that's something that we can all kind of celebrate on. But shout out to Russell Westbrook. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets. They've certainly turned around their season. And I'm just happy to see Russell Westbrook be happy at playing basketball again, because the last couple of years didn't look the greatest, especially when he was playing for the Lakers. But hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up as well. And until next time.
I like it. That was a good video. I respected it. I respected him coming out and admitting, hey, at the end of the day, I stand by my shit, but the reason I was critical was because of this. I was critical of his play, not critical of him as a person. I feel like a lot of people were critical of Westbrook as a person, and that's not okay. Respect to Westbrook. I am happy he is happy. I'm happy he is happy, for sure. I'm happy he's loving basketball again. Like I said, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. My biggest gripes right now with the Nuggets, in order for them to get over the hump, Jamal Murray's got to play better. He has to play better. If he plays at the rate he's playing right now, they're not going to do shit. Put it in a blunt and roll it, smoke it, do whatever you want to do. They ain't gonna do shit. I tell you that right now, okay? Like, right now, this is not just a cakewalk to the finals. It's not. So they are gonna have to be on their fucking P's and Q's. They're gonna have to be at the top of their game. Like, Jamal Murray has to play better. 43% from the field is unacceptable. Not acceptable. Not from him. Not if they want to play better. Not if they want to make sure that they can get to the finals. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. I respect Westbrook, but like he pointed out, Westbrook is great and he is helping. But the plus minus is, like, their net rating it goes up when Westbrook's on the bench, but his net rating is still good when he comes off. So, but we're not sitting here acting like Westbrook is the reason they're going to win a championship. But I'm not saying that his contribution is not going to be helpful. Take him off the team and they probably have no chance, even if Jamal Murray plays good. So I know that. I'm just saying that his contribution is great. But let's not act like just his contribution alone is going to win them the championship, because Jamal Murray needs to step up his game. But nonetheless, respect to Westbrook. I'm happy he's doing good. I'm happy he's playing better. I'm excited to see what happens with the Nuggets because I love watching Jokic play. I just can't stand Nugget fans. I love watching Jokic play, and I want Westbrook to get that ring. I hope he does. But like I said, in order for that to happen, Westbrook just got to continue to play at the level he's playing at, and Jamal Murray needs to step up his game. That's what needs to happen. But thank you guys for watching another video, another reaction. If you like my shit, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and give me a follow. Let me know if there's anything you want me to react to. I usually be in my comment section looking to see what you guys have comments on. But go ahead and join my Discord. I will see you in another one. Deuces.